right. So, welcome everybody. This is Art Through the Apocalypse. I am Cable Rose with Let's Talk Leadership. This afternoon, this evening, we have with us from the East Coast. Is it New Jersey? Is that right? All right. From New Jersey, we have a cosplayer. Sometimes people, maybe 15 years ago, would have thought cosplay would have been in the realm that we're trying to promote and talk about. But I myself have been known to dabble in the cosplay every once in a while. So I have on the show this afternoon Shelby Siwczak. I want to make sure I get it right. Shelby's with us. I'd like to introduce Shelby, have her come on and just kind of tell us about yourself, Shelby.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Cable. My name is Shelby. I cosplay with my husband, Andrew. I got into cosplay through, really through anime was my first intro into cosplay.
Wait a minute. You got to say more about that because some of our guests may not know what anime or anime is. So
True.
explain anime.
Sure. So basically the equivalent of cartoons in Japan.
Okay.
Some of the art style is very different than what you would maybe see in American cartoons. And some of the anime series out there are available with English dub translations, but a lot of times there are people who prefer to watch it with subtitles and get to hear the original Japanese language in the animation, and that's our personal preference.
Okay, good.
But we watch a few anime series, and the one that got us into this was One Piece. It's a show about this crew of what starts out as a couple of young teenagers. They grow into a crew of about 10 young adults. They sail the seas looking for adventure, and it really emphasizes the bond of what they call nakama, which is basically, as we would understand it, family that's not blood related, and basically emphasizing the bonds of friendship.
Brother from another mother, or right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where my brain went with that. So
Yeah.
Shelby, how did you get into it? You've been doing it, but how did you get into it?
My husband and I had always wanted to try cosplay. We met when we first met in college. Going to college in northern New Jersey, really close to New York, and we knew of some conventions up there, particularly New York Comic Con. That was the first one we ever went to.
Oh wow!
So, but then we found more slightly smaller scale anime conventions in the area, and now we go to usually around 4 conventions a year. But we first decided, let's try to go to one while we're up north in college, and we decided to try to make costumes, and that's how we began. So
let me do this. I have perused. Let me see if I can pull this up and see if it shows up here. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way, and let's see if you can talk to maybe what this piece is. I saw your post. It said that limited mobility and prop fragility. Is that right? Prop fragility?
Yes.
So say more. One, who is, what is this? And then maybe what's going on here.
Sure. So this was the first cosplay that I made entirely from scratch. Everything you see in this photo is completely self-made. Nothing was store-bought and modified. This is the character Sona from League of Legends. It's an online game, and
I know that one. Yeah,
my husband got me into this game a little bit. He plays it a lot more often than I do, but he really wanted to do cosplays from this. So this is a character that you would call a support character, really, while the main melee attacker in the game is going. You're sort of hanging behind them, giving healing spells to make sure they don't die. So this particular character is a mute character, but she makes all of her attacks through music.
Okay.
And she does so with this instrument that she calls an etwal. But with this particular cosplay, since the top part is supposed to be floating, sort of, I had to use wire to try to make it stand off of myself. And
Yes.
because of the way it's constructed, it's very hard to sort of move my arms really into any sort of position. And the étoile is also supposed to be floating, so that hangs off of me, and having to maneuver this fragile piece through a convention can be a little tricky.
So Shelby, how do you go big time for your first, like, let's go all out on my first piece, and you go big time on this? How do you pick that one? I would have picked, like, you know, like you said, the store bought or whatever, but you said, I'm going to build this one and we're going to go big time. How'd you come into this one?
It was something that actually, I think we just really love the beauty of it.
Okay.
And music is something that's so very personal to me. Seeing all of the detail on her costume, and also just it was something that my husband and I really bonded over, was this game. So it was something that we both wanted to sort of rise to the challenge on. And we had a couple of other cosplayers join us in this as well, and met other league cosplayers at the convention we went to. So it was really great to bond with other nerds over.
Oh, I love it. I love it. No, I've been to a few cons, and you're right. You have either a purpose of going to cosplay and I want to say sit, but you know, you're pretty much there for the enjoyment of others as well as yourself, or you go and you're in jeans and a t-shirt so you can go and enjoy others. So I totally understand this one, but you've mentioned this a few times, so I'm going to sneak this one in there too. And let's see what this is. Who is this dashing young fellow here?
So this is my now husband, Andrew. He, this was back in 2017.
Okay.
This is at Anime Next in Atlantic City. And this one is very special to me because this was the costume he proposed to me in.
Oh, I didn't even know it. I just grabbed it because I thought it was. There's a statement I like. Cosplayers, people or couples that cosplay together stay together. Right. That's the one I like about this. And this is your Belle. Is that correct?
Yes, this is my Belle cosplay, and this is his Prince Philip cosplay from Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
And so we just sort of both we're big Disney fans, and
Okay.
so we honeymooned in Disney World. So we both just sort of took two of the characters that meant the most to us growing up, and decided to cosplay them together as a crossover prince and princess. And
I love it.
That's a cosplay that it's one of our really popular ones. We get a lot of feedback. So.
I thought it was cute. Like I said, I had gone through some of your costs, and I saw you were at a beach of some sort. I've seen a couple of your Atlantic City Comic-Con. I've seen some of the other ones you attended. But that picture right there really stood out. So when I was like, I'm going to grab that one. There was one more where you and Beast were together, Belle and Beast. And I don't know if that was him. I couldn't tell through the makeup.
No, that was a cosplayer that I met at the last convention we went to in February.
Okay, so I wasn't quite sure. So I grew up in a home. My mother, she grew up with five sisters. So they grew up in the 50s. They grew up making their own clothes and being a seamstress. And I'm familiar with sergers and the hoops and the digital graphics of, you know, you can get your Avion and get all your stuff, or Florian and get your digitizing equipment and sewing. So I'm comfortable around machines and that. But I will tell you, until I really started to see or understand cosplayers, and I'm a novice. Novice? Is that the new kid?
Yeah.
New kid, right? I'm like, obviously I have no skills, but I don't care if you're buying the 99-cent Spider-Man mask and you go to a Comic-Con and that's your cosplay. I support it wholeheartedly. So I love to see the depth and the creativity of cosplayers as they get. So when we talk about art through the apocalypse, what are you doing in the last 90 days? I know it's obviously not something you could go attend a con, but are you planning any new outfits? Are you working on anything new? What's going on?
Yeah, so actually right before the quarantine hit, my husband and I we actually made a Joanne Fabrics run with a few of our friends, just like, let's stock up and get a bunch of fabric for the things we're planning to work on. At the time, we were still, I think, hoping that we were going to attend a convention in June. So we were working toward that. That has now been moved to next year. But nevertheless, we still have a few group cosplays that we're planning, and just one-off cosplays that we're planning. So one of the most recent things I'm working on is actually this piece here. This is, it's turned inside out, but this is a coat for a Victorian steampunk gender bend of the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who.
Wait. Steampunk 10th Doctor?
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. Okay. I'm digging it.
Yep. So that's what this is what the outside of the coat will be. The inside has the blue navy liner in it right now. But that's what I've been working on recently. I bought fabric for my friend and I are big fans of the animated film Road to El Dorado, and we're going to be doing gender bends of those characters.
Okay.
And we also, I mentioned we're really into One Piece. We're working on a new group cosplay with about 5 of our other friends cosplaying a new story arc from One Piece as well.
Okay. So are you a self-taught seamstress? Are you a...
I am self-taught. I told my mom a few years ago that I was getting into this, and she's like, if I buy you the sewing machine, will you promise you'll use it? And I have kept that promise wholeheartedly. She bought me a very nice machine, and it's actually, I would encourage anyone who's even interested in just learning how to sew to just take the time, get a machine that's good. And the one that she gave me actually had a DVD that was like a tutorial and has very, very clear manual instructions. I found it very easy to learn. And it's honestly something, I don't just use it for this. I made myself a mask for the quarantine. So, I use it in everyday life, and I taught my husband how to sew. It's very easy to pick up, and it's honestly, I find it very therapeutic to sew. So I think it's a very worthwhile skill to pick up if you can.
So I love the idea of being self-sufficient. I got a button fall off. Okay, yeah, threading a button is one thing, but then saying, hey, I've got a hem, or hey, I lost my, I got this rip, and being able to fix and do that, not just a heat patch that goes on your jeans. And don't get me wrong, if that's how you fix it, I'm okay with that too. But my mother, she's going to be on the show as well as the seamstress, not a cosplayer, but as a seamstress. She's been doing this for almost 55, 60 years. She's now got another generation where she had a 14-year-old kid at the time. She just graduated high school. She's in college. For about 4 or 5 years, she mentored this kid, and she started with Zelda, and she started with these other ideas that she wanted, Savannah wanted to cosplay. And my mom's like, I'm not going to do it for you. Don't come over here and expect me to sew it. And now she would show up and do all and so I love the idea of paying it forward, passing that on. You taught your husband how to sew. We've got a singer out in the other room. And so now I'm kind of in transition right now, but I just moved into the studio, and the other room, we're going to turn it into the full playroom. We've got a singer, and we've got the little thing that's like 50 years old that my mom handed down to me, and it opens up and it has all the racks of your needles and your little pullers and your threads and so we're going to have just a spot where if I got to either fix a collar or if I want to sew something, we do a lot of plush kind of toys, the Minecraft squares with the eye. My daughter wants to make them. We can go out there and sit there and figure out how to make them. And like you said, I don't have any sort of other than one-on-one with my mom, but like I just want to sit and figure out what that looks like. You're right. I think this is a good time where not just yourself as a cosplayer. I love how you said it. I think everybody should have a machine in their house. Everybody should have one and just learn how to do this. I think this whole time that we're in this quarantine, whether it's cooking or whether it's sewing or whether it's writing music or whether it's reading a book that you just never got around to, I think it's a really good time for us to just kind of sit back and go, okay, I still got to go to work. You said you still work for the Met. You got to go through those things. But you know what? When I got a couple extra minutes, I'm going to throw down and see what that looks like. And actually, I love steampunk. Doctor Who, 10th Doctor. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited now, so I'm gonna obviously still follow you, but I want to see where this goes. What's your thoughts though with this quarantine, and how has your cosplay or I mean, do you guys Zoom together? I mean, again, you got 4 or 5 friends that are planning this event. How do you continue that during the time that we're in?
Yeah, so we do still frequently have, Zoom happy hours with our friends.
Yep.
And so we have kept in touch saying, like, hey, this is what we're working on. And here are ideas of how I'm planning to create this coat or this skirt. And, and the other day I was talking with one of my friends, she really wants to make an Elsa cosplay from the new Frozen 2 film.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was doing sort of research with her online of, well, I think this is how we could make the detailing of the snowflakes, and this is how it can look like water. And it's really great to have this community. And I will say, it's not just people that we personally know. We're lucky to have such close friends who do this, but even at conventions, the people I've met and then who I've followed on Instagram, we still keep up with each other. We still see what we're all working on. Everyone's sort of free to ask questions, and we all kind of learn from each other. And so I feel very lucky that I've found this really great community of people. I have people that I'm in a group chat with that are across the country or across the pond. It's really cool to see how far our mutual love of these nerdy things and our creativity has brought us all together. So, even while we're in quarantine, it's been nice to still feel that connection with our close friends through this, and also other people that I've met once. So.
Correct, right? Yep, you meet him the one time. So I tell you, Shelby, I appreciate you sharing with us. Obviously, coming on the show. I'm in Texas. You're in New Jersey. We're a couple hours apart. But like you said, we're making those connections via the technologies we have or the chats we have or what have you. But I will say this. You did say it the best way. The nerds unite. I love the fact that we are no longer in the shadows. We're no longer in the background. And I love to just see people pour their passion into something such as the cosplay. I love when my daughter was small. We went to Knoxville, had a Comic-Con, small one, and we went in. Oh, I got to meet, Jared Hess, Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to go. My daughter was like 2. She obviously didn't know who he was, but she went as a dinosaur, her tail like swagged, and she saw R2D2, the guy with the remote driving R2, and she saw all the people coming in and just the joy on it. But at the same time, there were adults that came in. I was excited to see R2. I was 40-some years old, And so you're right, to see the people now who are no longer having to say, well, I don't have to be a geek or be a nerd. I'm going to be out there and people are going to come see me. And I don't have to feel, like it's not cool or not something like that. I just watched a documentary called Never Surrender. Have you seen it?
No, I've not heard of that.
It is on Amazon Prime, I think. They have the best documentaries. You ever seen the movie Galaxy Quest?
Oh, yes. I love Galaxy Quest.
So Galaxy Quest is called the best Star Trek movie ever made. Have you heard that?
Oh, yes, I have.
Okay.
I think I would agree.
And I would too. But the documentary Never Surrender is about the Galaxy Quest movie. And there's a lot of cosplay talk and ideals throughout that one. And there's a couple that they follow through the documentary that they show up like the Zords or whatever they were. And I can't think of the name. But they show up and they talk about, hey, I'm 50-some, 60 years old. I don't have to feel like I can't go enjoy myself and do these things. And it's a real beautiful thing, especially Shelby, like you were talking about, to be creative and say, okay, Zoom party, we're going to have a creative, get together. And then I'm going to throw a gender bender and switch around the roles and take a male role and I'm going to be a female playing it, or I'm going to get a female playing male role, or vice versa, males playing females. And then, you got the 10th Doctor back there, steampunk. My wife and I went last year to a, what do they call that, murder mystery dinner where you,
Yeah, we actually usually host those at our house.
Hang on, my phone just came through on my computer. I'm sorry, I lost you for a second.
Okay.
But yeah, murder mystery there. And my wife and I went steampunk, and I had the top hat and the cane with the skull on it, and I had the goggles on my hat and the long, what do they call that with the coat?
Oh, like the coattails.
The coattails, yeah, I had the coattails and the boots and the whole 9 yards, and I had the little. It looked like a fanny pack, but it had like all the steampunk wheels on it. And unfortunately, I mean, I'm okay with this. It was a Halloween buy at one of the party stores. I'm not gonna split hairs, but it looked pretty sharp.
Yeah.
But I want to do one. My daughter's 11. I think she's a perfect Penny age where I get to be Inspector Gadget and she's Penny, and we can carry like a stuffed dog that's Brain, and we could go to the Comic-Con, and I could put my roller skates on, and I want to do the hat with the propellers and the handles, and do like the little springs that come around with like a glove or I don't know. So kind of like you, I just want to get creative and just do something. And I think cosplays.
That sounds absolutely awesome. Like that's something once we eventually start having kids in the future, we definitely plan to get our kids involved in this too. So
not only are couples that cosplay together stay together, families that cosplay together stay together. I love that idea. Shelby, I think it's a beautiful thing what you've got going on. What was your husband's name?
Andrew.
Andrew. You and Andrew, beautiful couple. I love to see you guys in your pictures. And I like your creativity of what you guys are doing. I'm going to then reach out further into your world and continue following yourself and your group, it looks like, because I want to see where you guys end up going in 2021. I don't know if 2020 is going to be anywhere anytime soon that we're going to be able to do. I've always wanted to go to Dragon Con. I never made it down to Dragon Con in Atlanta. That would be a fan. That's more of an adult one. I'm not taking my daughter to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to go to a larger one. I've been to Louisville, Kentucky for Fandom Fest, and I've been to a couple small ones in Knoxville, Yellow City Comic Con here in Amarillo I've done. But Shelby, I want to tell you, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you reaching out. I know we connected via a commonality on Instagram, and so I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to get to make sure that I get your Instagram to share. Is there anything else you would like me to share during the video, either in production or afterwards in the footer notes, or anything else you want to put on there?
Nope, that my Instagram handle is fine. If you want to see more of the other people in our group, we also have a separate Instagram, Conjurers Cosplay. So I'm Emerald Lee Cosplay, and we have Conjurers Closet Cosplay as well.
I saw that in your Instagram story title. So I'll go ahead and put those in the storyliners. If anybody wants to get in and see what you guys are doing, they'd definitely be able to click that in the liners. But Shelby, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you being here today. Continue cosplaying and continue with the creativity. I love seeing it out there. So thank you for sharing with us during the quarantine.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep.